Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. I thought I'd talk to you today a little bit more about the Mexican standoff, I guess we'll call it, that's going on the southern border down there between Texas, 25 other states, and the Biden administration. It's gotten a lot worse. As you may know, if you follow my videos, I talked about it in the last video, but last week, Biden actually had a deadline for Texas, and he said basically, I'm giving you an ultimatum of or else. If you don't pull these National Guard troops back by Friday and allow the Border Patrol agents in, the federal agents in, or else is what he said. So Friday came and went. The Texans didn't, pay any attention to Biden's empty threat, and they continued to do exactly what they were doing prior to that, empty threat. So nothing happened. Again, proving that, Biden can put these imaginary lines in the sand anywhere he wants and no one respects him. So why would they listen to him? So again, more and more states are jumping on board with Texas and showing their support. Pretty much all of the Republican states have shown support for Texas, and that's good. And Abbott and the National Guard continue to have everything as they had it before down at Eagle Pass. They don't have the entire southern border secured. This is just one little small area along the, I don't even know what, 1,500 miles or whatever it is of Texas's border that's basically open season right now ever since Biden came in. So I'm sure you've probably heard in some of the headlines that Joe Biden is back to his old tricks as far as gaslighting everybody else that opposes him. And what he's doing is he said that, I could close the border down tomorrow if you guys pass this Senate bill. Well, the problem is this Senate bill is like what they call a bipartisan committee of 3 different people. One of them is James Lankford. I can't remember who the other one is. Sinema is one of them, supposedly an independent who always votes with the Democrats. So Sinema is nowhere, no conservative by any stretch of the imagination, and some other Democrat. They're all pushing this bipartisan bill, as they call it, in the Senate, and Joe Biden wants to sign that bill into law. And the reason he wants to is because it's good for his, continuation of the UN, what did they call it? Replacement migration plan. Go look it up. I can't talk too much about it here, else my video will be shadow banned, and it probably already will be because I'm talking negatively about their dear leader, Joe Biden, the head commie. So let's get into some of these headlines that have my attention pretty peaked. Honestly, I've been sitting there for the past several days, all weekend. I was like sitting there with my bowl of popcorn. I mean, this is, on one hand, it's really scary because it could lead into a civil war. Although I don't think that's very likely. But on the other hand, it's scary just because it's gotten to this point, because Biden has allowed the country to get to devolve to this point where we have to have a standoff between the states and the federal government. It's just unreal. So let's get into these headlines. Biden administration rolls out a record-shattering border report on Friday in a Friday afternoon document dump. They like to do this stuff at late Friday so that the mainstream media looks the other way and they just pretend it didn't happen. But they rolled out another record-shattering border report. So let's hear this. This monthly Southwest Land Border Encounters report came out later than normal. Wink, wink, nod, nod. They did that on purpose. And it revealed a shocking look at the apprehension of nearly 250,000 migrants in the month of December. They're not migrants. They're criminals. They're illegal immigrants, illegal aliens that are breaking our laws. We need to start using the proper language. See, that's one of the ways the Dems get us, is they constantly change the language. They say, oh, no, you can't call them an illegal alien. That's not right. That's inhumane. You're not even considering them a human being. So you have to call them migrants. See, migrants. They're not migrants. Immigrants use the legal immigration process, which I'm totally fine with. I like it when people from other countries come in through the legal process, because oftentimes they're some of our best contributors to our society. There's lots of people from all around the world that are coming here and want to assimilate to the United States, the greatest country on the face of the earth, or at least it once was. I don't know if you can say that anymore after, 3.5 years of Joe Biden ruining everything. It's starting to work. His communist Marxist plan is starting to work. Joe Biden's parole pipeline freed 745,000 foreign nationals into the United States in 2023. So 745,000 new potential Democrat voters came into the system. And, you know, that's looking at it too simplistically, I think. I think it's a multifaceted thing. It's not just about getting them to sign up and vote for Democrats. It's about redistricting the entire United States. And, you know, sort of like they wanted to load up the Supreme Court, pack the Supreme Court, they want to pack the Congress. And that's part of their plan. And this is how they're doing it. They're redistricting all over the United States, and that's the dirty little election trick. It really isn't so much about making them vote, although they will, and they tend to vote Democrat. So that's also another feather in their hat and the reason why they're doing this. But yeah, 745,000 foreign nationals in 2023, and that exceeded 2 months of American births. So the reason this headline is super important, and you need to look into this, is because, again, go on to any search engine and type in replacement migration. Make it more specific. UN replacement migration. You'll see their plan. Their plan says that, well, Western countries just aren't having enough kids these days. So what we have to do is we have to flood these Western countries with foreign nationals to help them out, don't you know? Because otherwise their economies won't make it, and it'll send the whole rest of the world into a spiraling free fall. So that's the UN's excuse for doing it. That's what they say, and the reason that, you know, the goody two-shoes argument of why they're trying to do this. That's not why they're doing it in reality. They're doing it, in my opinion, so that these people that are coming from third world countries who have no background in, you know, anything to do with the United States. They don't know our Constitution. They don't know our laws. They don't know anything about our culture or our history or any of that stuff. Those people are going to be easily swayed to vote the way that the Democrats want them to vote. They're going to be people that are prone to hearing the Democrat talking points. They're going to be open to the Democrat talking points like, we got to protect our democracy, don't you know? Democracy, democracy, democracy. That's all they ever talk about. They never talk about the republic for which it stands. They don't talk about that. So, it reminds me of a Karl Marx quote. Democracy is the road to socialism. That was a Karl Marx quote. That's just rolled into my mind right now. But yeah, that's what the Democrats believe. That's why they're always pushing democracy is the road to socialism. And socialism is one step away from communism, which is exactly what they want. So anyway, let's move on. Border showdown. Biden stops approval of liquid natural gas exports in retaliation of Texas defiance. So Texas, you know, said, hey, Biden, we're not putting up with this border being wide open. We're going to do something about it. Biden comes back and says, oh, really? I'll just cut off export of LNG, liquid natural gas, and that way you guys won't make all that money off the liquid natural gas that you guys are extremely rich in right now. So, I mean, I don't know. That's what this land commissioner in Texas says, that this was all about retaliation. I don't necessarily know if that's 100% truth or not. I mean, it could just be to cripple and hurt the United States of America. All of the energy sector has been attacked by Biden directly. Oil sector, you know, electricity, people, I don't even know if we're allowed to do anything with coal anymore here in the United States, but we're probably still exporting it to China because at one time, China was building a new coal plant every month, because they don't have an EPA stepping on their throat, not allowing them to progress, see? So anyway, this Texas Land Commissioner, Don Buckingham, said that President Joe Biden's recent decision to stop approval of liquefied natural gas exports looks more like retaliation than a sound policy decision. Biden's announcement came one day after Texas took a bold stand and started trying to enforce the laws. So maybe that's a coincidence, but it's probably not. I don't believe in coincidences. This is definitely, at least it has the potential of being used particularly against Texas to hurt them. So anyway, moving on. Let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think of that? Is Biden doing this stuff to basically stab Texas in the side over here where, you know, it'll hurt them financially? I think so. but he's also hurting all the rest of us at the same time. So it's a win-win for him. Anytime he can bring down the United States, he does it. Anyway, Biden blackmail intensifies. And this is where I was talking about the gaslighting thing that Biden's doing. He says he won't shut the border until Congress coughs up Ukrainian and Israeli funds. So in this bipartisan bill that Biden is pushing, and he's trying to blame the Republicans and saying, oh, the only reason I'm not securing the border is because the Republicans are cutting the funding and because Republicans did this, that, and the other thing. It's all Republicans' fault. Heck, Trump was partly to blame for this. I mean, so he's just pointing his finger at everybody he can point it to. And of course, when you have the lapdog, the mainstream media, sitting there lapping everything you say up and repeating it, rinse and repeat over and over and over on every network, then pretty soon all of your brown shirts start believing that crap too. So I was telling my wife something earlier and she was like, well, nobody's going to believe that. I'm like, oh no, you're wrong. Half the country, the ones that, supposedly 81 million people that voted for Biden, they're buying this shit hook, line, and sinker without question because they don't question anything. They don't question anything. They have a different viewpoint of reality than we do. Let's just put it nicely, but I think they're insane. So this Senate deal that they're working on, this bipartisan Senate deal that's supposed to be, the best thing since sliced bread, and it's going to help Biden immediately shut the border down, even though he currently already has the authority to do that. He's just choosing not to do it. He's using this as a blackmail. And he's also gaslighting at the same time by blaming all of his failures on the other side. Of course, this is the oldest trick in the book. All politicians do this to some degree, but I've never seen an administration do it so so they do it so freely and they get away with it all the time because no one holds them accountable in the media. And if someone on a right-wing channel comes out and starts criticizing, they're just like, oh, right-wing conspiracy theorist fanatic, oh yeah, racist, misogynist, homophobe, blah, 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 blah. That's their game. So yeah, you can't have a reasonable argument or debate with somebody like that because it's going to end up being a screaming match or a fight or something like that. Although they won't fight. They might do something and like push you and make you fight back, and then they'll have their buddy over there strategically placed, and he'll turn the camera on right at the time you knock them out. That way you're the one that goes to jail, even though they started the crap. But anyway, this Senate deal that's such a disaster that no one should vote for. It requires the DHS to continue funneling border crossers into the U.S. So remember I told you earlier, 250,000 migrants came in the month of December. This new border deal that James Lankford and Seneca and the other Democrat senator is pushing right now, this bipartisan bill, would allow 5,000 a week. Or I'm sorry, is it five? No, it's 5,000 a day. 5,000. See, that doesn't even sound realistic. They're talking about allowing in this bill 5,000 a day to come over and be granted like work visas almost instantly, and like it's soft amnesty. It's really not even soft. It's hardcore amnesty. It's just a beating around the bush way of doing it instead of being direct about it. They're going around, the shadowy corners where no one will see what's going on. But listen to this. A deal being negotiated by Senator James Lankford, Republican, Oklahoma, Chris Murphy, a Democrat in Connecticut, and Kirsten Sinema, independent from Arizona, would codify President Joe Biden's catch and release network into federal law by requiring the Department of Homeland Security to funnel border crossers into the United States on a daily basis. 5,000. And then somehow, I guess somebody's going to be standing there with a little clicker and they're going to count all the illegals coming across the border. Wait. You can't come because you're 5,001. We have to stop it right here. Oh, shut it off right here. As if that's going to really happen. The point is this just turns, it just looks the other way, and it gives Biden all sorts of power that he doesn't currently have to enforce and to take money from other things and put it towards supposedly fixing the border. And what he means by fixing the border and what you and I mean by fixing the border are two different things. What he means is he wants to speed it up so that they can bring them in even faster and process these illegals even faster. That's Joe Biden's idea of fixing the system. It's not putting a wall up or stopping things in place. I mean, I remember stories from early on in Biden's administration where they had just hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars worth of already pre-allocated equipment for building the wall that he sold to the lowest bidder. I mean, unreal. The guy is giving away the country, and no one seems to be doing anything about it or saying much about it. But listen to this next one. Joe Biden's unvetted Afghans to score green cards as part of a Senate deal. So this Senate deal just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. They're going to let 5,000 in a day, and I didn't even finish making my point because this stuff gets me so fired up. 245 or 250,000 nearly came in December, right? Breaking records. If they do this, 5,000 a day, that's 300,000 a week. Like what, 1.2 million a month or something like that? Are they serious? And they're trying to say this is actually going to fix the border? It's unbelievable. So Lankford, he's taking all the heat for this because, you know, the Democrats, they want this chaos at the border. Never let a crisis go to waste. And what's the other one? Overwhelm the system. That's exactly what's going on right now. So James Lankford's plan helps Biden migration and hinders Trump's crackdown. So Trump's already been talking about when he gets reelected, he's going to go in and get rid of all these illegals that are here currently illegally. He's going to kick them out, send them back home. Well, if this bipartisan plan passes, Trump will have a harder time doing that. I'm not going to say he won't be able to do it, but it's going to be much harder because he'll have to undo this BS first before he can undo the rest of Biden's BS, which is what they like to do. They like to layer everything up like an onion. Oklahoma Republican Party ends all support for Senator James Lankford over Senate deal to expand immigration. So that's good news. At least in Oklahoma, they're fighting back against this guy. They're telling him, look, man, you're out of the club if you do this. You got to back off of this thing. And he didn't back off of it. So now they're saying we're pulling all support for Senator Lankford over the Senate deal to expand immigration. It's basically amnesty. So a reporter from Fox News in California, Bill Malugan, he did a report. These illegals from China, Turkey, and India were crossing the border in San Diego County. I mean, they got it on video. These people admit they're from Turkey, India, and China. I mean, that's kind of a big deal, you know. China's one of our number one enemies. That's kind of a big deal. Turkey, they haven't been acting all real super nice and sweet to the United States or Israel. So, I mean, could the Turkish be sending in some, sleeper cells or something like that? I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I don't trust them any farther than I can throw them. But Biden is standing there with open arms, rolling out the red carpet and saying, come on, bring them all in. Bring them all in. All you have to do is say that magic word, asylum. I'm an asylum seeker. I'm an asylum seeker. We have to come in here because, climate change is ruining our country. So I have to come here, even though really, if you're going to get asylum, for one, there are certain rules for these asylum seekers. In the past, they had to have a waiting period before they could just come in and be released in the United States. Now it's just catch and release, which is exactly what Biden wants. So Senator Ted Cruz said, the border crisis is not caused by Biden's incompetence. Oh no, it's deliberate. It's the deliberate outcome they want. Again, he's saying it without saying it. This is the UN Agenda 21 2030 replacement migration plan playing out. Now, I wish Cruz would come out and say that, but I don't think he has the guts to say that. He's probably part of their, young leaders club or whatever. I mean, these people have cast their web so wide and far that, it seems like every time I'm turning around, there's some association with the WEF or the UN Agenda 21 2030. It's just unreal. The United States should get out of the UN, should withdraw any funding or any support or any participation in anything these globalists are doing over at the WEF at Davos every year. But no, we got to go over there and, kiss ass and, and do all this stuff and virtue signal and pretend like we're actually doing something to help the world, when in reality, They're destroying everything on purpose. Because why? The leader, the maniacal James Bond villain leader, Klaus Schwab, said it in his own words: you will own nothing and you will be happy, or you will like it. Sounds a lot like communism. In fact, that's another Marxist quote I can give you. Communism can be summed up in one sentence. It's the abolition of private property, or abolishing all property rights. Something like that. I'm not the biggest fan of Karl Marx, but it's good to know what your enemy is talking about. That's what these Democrats believe. They're communists. They want to destroy everything. They're anti-religious, just like Marx. They're anti-private property, just like Marx. Unreal. Mess in the West. Army of God convoy heads to U.S. border while European farmers block cities. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this or not. I don't know what the deal is with this convoy. I mean, part of me hopes it's a massive deal, like the Freedom Convoy that went all across Canada, and then the United States did our own version of that here, right? Remember that? I love that. I've got pictures of that. I think I even did a video when they came through my town. It was huge, man. Just miles and miles of trucks. And I kind of hope that the same thing happens and people go down there and show their support for Texas. I think that's a good idea. On the other hand, it sort of feels like a J6 setup. So I'd be very cautious about going down there or taking your family or doing anything that could get you in trouble. Don't take any firearms or anything like that with you. I mean, it's just not time for that yet. And to back up what I was saying a little while ago, you know, the problem I have with the idea of a civil war, obviously it'd be bloody, it'd be catastrophic for the United States, it would be favorable to a lot of our enemies. They would love nothing more than to have us fighting it out here amongst ourselves and destroying our own selves from within, right? So on one hand, that's all true, and that's part of the reason you should be anti-Civil War. On the other side of things, I just don't think the American people have the stomach for it, or the guts for it, or the balls for it anymore. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, what I'm seeing around the country, the American people are too drunk on comfort. And I stole that line from Chris Ann Hall. She said it years ago, and it's the best way to summarize the reason why we won't have a civil war. Is because the American people are too drunk on comfort. I mean, you go over to the wall, you flip the switch, the light comes on, you go to the store, you want some beer, you go down there and you buy some beer, you come home, you watch whatever you want on your TV. I mean, you're pacified. So it hasn't gotten bad enough yet. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully, you know, smarter people, the adults, will actually get in charge and they'll correct this thing before it totally goes off the cliff. But honestly, I don't see that happening. I think when you read the plans of the New World Order, the WEF, you know, Agenda 21, 2030, all this stuff, when you read their plans, there is no United States that's the powerful, you know, superpower anymore. We're a third world country at that point because that's what they have to do. That's what they have to do. If you have a strong United States with people that are, you know, pro-liberty, pro, you know, individual self-governance and stuff like this, you know, the pro-individual versus collectivists. That's what this really is about. And if you want to, you know, hear my quote on it, if you want to summarize communism in a single word, it's collectivists. That's what they are. Anti-founding principles of this country. Everything that communism stands for is 180 degrees out of phase with what the founding fathers stood for. So anyway, let me know down in the comments where you stand on all this stuff. I think what's going on the southern border is traitorous offense by Joe Biden, and he should at very least be impeached for it. And I don't know why the Republicans don't have the guts to do it, except for there's a lot of them that are like mealy-mouthed Republicans. They're Republicans when they're running for office. They're hardcore conservatives. But once they get the job, all that NGO and lobbyist money is coming in, and I think that's what actually corrupts them, people like James Lankford, and makes them sign on to a law like this and actually believe it's the right thing to do, when obviously it's not the right thing to do. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this bull crap down in the comments. I always love reading them. And until then, I stand for liberty to the bitter end. I hope you do too.